invocation and pledge? All right, good afternoon. The time is 12 o'clock, and I'll call this regular meeting of the Coppers Cove Economic Development Corporation to order. Today's invocation and pledge of allegiance will be led by Joey Afaji.
If you would join me. Father, thank you for giving the opportunity for us to come together to serve our community and our city in making the right decisions for the EDC and all of one. In your name and grace we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you, Joey. Brittany, will you call the roll, please?
Joey Afaji,
Here.
Adam Martin,
Here.
Jay Jackson,
Here.
Jonas Titus,
Here.
Jeremy Tate. Jeremy Tate,
All right, please reflect in the records that Jeremy was not present.
Diane Drussel,
All right. Any announcements?
yes. Wednesday, September 25th, Lasting Memories has a grand opening today at 12 p.m. at 212 East Business 190, Suite D. Thursday, September 26, 2019, there will be a chamber mixer at 5:30 at the Coppers Cove Nursing Home and Rehabilitation Center. Thursday, September 27, 2019, Lone Star Pediatric has a grand opening from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. at 2705 East Business 190, Suite 101. Wednesday, October 2nd, 2019, there's a City Council Forum from 5:30 to 8 p.m. at the Council Chambers. Thursday, October 17, 2019, there's Theater Bingo from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Synergy Cinemas. And that is all.
Okay, thank you.
Just make a correction on that announcement for tomorrow night's mixer. It's actually at Camp Kaler, but it is the nursing home that is basically going to host it, but the venue is going to be Camp Kaler,
Where's Camp
you.
Taylor?
right off 190, heading to Lampasas on the left side. The adult playground. Right past that Max or Mags.
Oh, okay, I got you.
I'd like to go ahead and add into that for this Saturday. A couple of things going on for both the Chamber of Commerce and, of course, the community. Starting out with KCCB, they have their cleanup that morning. Following that would be the Holy Family Catholic Church. They're having their Fall Fest. And on the evening is National Night Out this Saturday night. So hopefully we can be able to see everyone out there.
Any other announcements?
No.
All right, moving on to consent agenda. Citizens Forum. At this time, citizens will be allowed to speak on any matter other than personnel matters, matters under litigation, or matters on the regular agenda for a length of time not to exceed 5 minutes per person. 30 minutes total has been allotted for this section. Is there anyone wishing to speak at Citizens Forum today? Hearing none, we'll move on to item F, consent agenda. All matters listed under this item are considered to be routine by the EDC Board of Directors and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. F1, consideration and action on approval of minutes for the Project Coral Committee meeting held on July 23rd, 2019. F2, consideration and action on approval of minutes for the RFP committee meeting held on August 21st, 2019. Item F3, consideration and action on approval of minutes for the regular meeting held on August 28, 2019. Item F4, consideration and action on approval of minutes for the bylaws committee meeting held on September 10th, 2019. What is the desire of the board?
Adam, if I can go ahead and make the motions to approve F1, 2, 3, and 4 as it's read.
Okay, motion for approval by Joey,
And I will second that, Adam.
second by Jay. Any additional discussion?
None.
Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Moving into item H, action items. H1, consideration and action on authorizing the release of funds to the City of Copperas Cove for charges to the CCEDC for services rendered as agreed upon by various city employees for the month of August. Velia Key, Director of Financial Services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the total amount of the invoice is in the amount of $689.67. And that is for all the hours worked, total 13 hours worked between 9 hours for the finance staff and 4 hours for the IS department. $96.70 is for check stock. So the package is of 500, and if we noted in the financials, the last check that was written during the month of August was 430, so we needed to restock. Are there any questions?
All right, what's the desire of the board?
Adam, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve H1 as read.
Motion for approval by Joey,
And I will second that, Adam.
second by Jay. Is there any additional discussion?
For me.
Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Item H2, consideration and action on approving the unaudited financial report of the Copperas Cove Economic Development Corporation for the month of August 2019. Velia Key.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There were 2 payroll runs during the month of August. The employees received their paychecks on August the 9th and August the 23rd. There were 34 checks written. The total amount of cash available at August 31st was over $6 million, of which the operating carried 8% of that, and the tax pool account accounted for 92% of it. If we compare where the EDC was last year, there is an increase of over $500,000. That's the difference between the 5.5 and the $6 million that the EDC currently has as of August the 31st. On the highlights for the month, year-to-date, the revenue exceeded expenditures by $662,607. The total sales tax allocation received from the city was in the amount of $124,000. The interest earned during the month was over $10,000. The total amount of expenditures during the month was $288,833. And I would like to explain why is it higher than in the prior months. During the month of February and August is when the EDC pays the interest and principal. In February is only interest paid, but during the month of August, the EDC pays the principal and the interest for the debts that it has. So check 397 accounted for $126,562.50, and that was the principal and the interest for Series 2011, and that was for the bypass contribution that the EDC has. Then check number 398 to First National Bank in the amount of $65,337.77. Again, the principal and the interest for the Series 2001. And check 402 in the amount of $56,505.26. Again, for principal and interest for Series 2012. Those are the only checks that are higher than usual, but however approved during the budget process. All of the other checks are considered routine. The total amount of the debt paid was for $248,405. If we compare what is it what we usually, the EDC pays during the month is usually between $30,000 to $40,000. That is the difference between the $288 and the $248. That's the regular salaries and other items that are budgeted. The year-to-date expenditures is at $662,360 with a fund balance ending on $6.3 million. Do we have any questions on any of the disbursements or any items on the financials?
Yes, I have a question. When you said routine checks, that means we're going to see those checks every month, the same checks, the same amount, the same checks.
Well, it will be you will be seeing the checks that are written during that month.
At similar
Yeah,
levels.
my question is about check number 407 and 412 is the loan service. So each month we pay this 900 and other amount for check
It depends
for the,
on
for
how
the loan
much.
service.
Not, we maintain the properties as needed. So we've budgeted to cut the grass, to maintain the monument signs, to maintain the narrows, but we'll do that as needed. We do it 3 to 4 times a year. We mow
Okay.
the narrows and as needed on the monument signs as the gateways. So those are considered routine, is that they're budgeted. They're not an extraordinary
Okay.
expense or something
Yeah.
that was not in
Yeah.
the budget. So we won't necessarily see those every month.
Yeah, not the same amounts. The routines are considered your salaries, your office supplies, your utilities.
Thank you.
Sharon, did you have something?
No, I was reminding Jonas that $900 is not a typical one that we have them clear out all behind the apartments because people were complaining that the overgrowth was backing up the water into the housing area.
Yeah.
That's part
That
of
the
narrow-
unuseful,
Yeah.
that the unuseful property that we have there.
Yes, that's part of the narrows.
Yeah, I know.
Any other questions?
No.
What's the desire of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to get the decision to approve item H2. That was right.
Okay. Motion for approval by Jay,
I'll second that.
second by Joey. Is there any additional discussion on this item? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Velia. Item H3, consideration and action on approving revisions made to the bylaws for the Coppers Cove Economic Development Corporation. Jonas Titus.
Thank you. If you'll, this is on page 25 in your packet in front of you. We decided to open up the bylaws and take a look at them all at once rather than go in and make incremental piecemeal changes. We had 2 issues that we had identified as the structure of the organization has changed and become fully staffed in the last during this year. And so first, the 2 things that precipitated this was the check signing and also the ability for us to identify new candidates to fill vacant board positions. So starting on the bottom of page 25 in Article 2, we felt that it was a little bit onerous on potential board members to be asked to spend a week away from their jobs, away from their families, attending a basic economic development course administered by the Texas EDC. There's a multitude of opportunities for staff to provide professional development in economic development. However, so we've decided to no longer mandate completion of this course, but board members are still open to take that opportunity, and the EDC will pay for that. We will, however, be providing an overview of Texas economic development policies and procedures and also Coppers Cove economic development policies, procedures to all new board members within the first 90 days of service and swearing in. Our new board member is coming to the office tomorrow to receive this and also be sworn in. So this tightened up that language with regard for professional development. Then on page 27, as we opened this up, we also found some other issues that did not totally align with how we organized and structured, cleaned up for how we do our meetings in Section 2A regular meetings, just more or less changed the address of our offices and also clarified that these are not live streams. That's on page 27. And then middle of page 29, the signatories, I think this was put in place when we were not fully staffed, and getting 2 signatures on some of the, what Velia referred to as some routine checks, has created some inefficiencies and even some late payments on our part where we were not able to get things to pay our bills. So this allows the executive director to sign checks up to $1,000. In this month's financial report, the checks request I signed for our upcoming report, we had a check in there for $1.50. So, we don't really think it's a good use of your time, staff mileage, for us to conduct routine business. All things exceeding that $1,000, of course, will go for get 2 signatures. The only exception being made is for our monthly office rent payment. And then going back to the beginning, there is this is on page 25, talking about interference with administration. This clause really doesn't impact how we operate as an organization, but the structure of the organization has changed since this was written, and we don't want to usurp the authority of our governing entity, our governing body, City Council, but we're proposing removing the second sentence, which begins, which basically clarifies that I report to you, that the staff and executive director reports to the board of directors. And throughout the rest of the bylaws, it stipulates a multitude of aspects of how you guys set the policy and manage the governance of the EDC. So with that, those are our recommended changes, and we appreciate Joey for coming by and going through these with us. And with that, anything you'd like to add, Joey?
Said it all.
What's the desire of the board?
Actually, Mr. Chairman, I reviewed this multiple times. I didn't see any issue for this amendment or changes, so I would like to go for the action to approve item H3.
Okay. Motion for approval by Jay,
I'll second that motion.
second by Joey. Is there any additional discussion on this item?
I just want to clarify that I'm using the right version. So on that first page, we're going to keep section 3 with the exception beginning, this does not preclude the board.
Right.
Okay. I've got all 3 versions in case we need it.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think the changes are very strong. And just a question, are we going to review these periodically, once a year?
We should review them at least annually.
Yeah,
Okay.
when Joey met with us, he offered to stay on this committee, to keep this as an active committee, and in the bylaws, it does say that that these will be reviewed annually.
Okay. I guess if I'd read a little bit further, I would have seen that. All right. Is there any additional discussion? Barbara, are you okay with the changes? Yes, I did review them and they're fine. Okay. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Item H4, consideration and action on approving the development standards for the Narrows Business and Technology Park. Diane Dressel. Page 30 or so.
She's opening them up.
Thank you. The last time when we were here, we reviewed these development standards, now considered the CCNRs, covenants, conditions, and restrictions. Sorry, I had a mental block there. And the main gist of the conversation was making sure that it was understood that where we talk about variances in here, anybody reading this knows that the variances only apply to these standards and not to impede with the city standards. The other thing was on where we had links and different places where they had to look for things, is that I referred back to where they were cited from, city ordinances. So all of those now say as per city ordinances or something referring back to city ordinances. So those were the main things we had issues with or questions about. I know that one of the conversations that we had also was talking about a fee for the design review board. I know we discussed it. I don't believe a fee was ever determined. And that's for you all to discuss on that one. So if somebody gives us plans, because they have to understand that this is only the DRB. This has nothing to do with the planning and review board.
If I recall
the
correctly,
city.
we just wanted to keep language in there that we have the ability to
Okay.
collect fees because we're probably going to be assessed from the city to use their talent for review and things of that nature.
Okay, so maybe we can write something and get a general fee and not to exceed a certain amount.
I think, didn't it have language in there that you can? Can you maybe pull
I'll
that
look
for-
again, because I have looked at this thing so many times that I don't even see it.
Okay.
And also, Barbara and I worked on a disclaimer that will be at the very beginning. And it basically talks about anything in here applies only to these standards and that it will not supersede any of the compliances with the city, especially on the infrastructure for your roads, your water, sewer, your wastewater, and all of that. Because those are a given. Those are the law. They have to do those. So those were the main things that we discussed last time. So those corrections have been made, so we need to know where to go from here if you all want to approve them, and then we can get them registered with the county or recorded with the county. And then our next steps will be to create a process for people coming in. You know, this is what you need to do because they don't know what they need to do when they come in to the Narrows to do something.
Can we go to the section that talks about the review? Because I think the paragraph, there's a specific paragraph in question that talks about.
Mr. Chair, in section thank you, 2.2.0 and 2.3.0, there are sections that talk about costs and duties. The DRB in 2.3.0 is supposed to, it says it will, so it's a bit more mandatory than just may, but establish any fee amounts for review, approval, or other procedures. And then 2.2.0 is owners shall pay any required fee amounts for review and approval processes before the DRB starts its review. These amounts may include the cost of DRB consultants who will be retained by the DRB with the concurrence of the owner to aid in the review. I think that would include anybody that you might have to borrow from the city. So I
And
think
then
that between those two sections, you probably are covered for fees. But if for some reason there is an administrative clause, such as Jonas is doing something specific that he needs his time covered, or Diane or whomever, if you need to have that administrative cost over and above whatever is being charged, it would allow you
would
to
cover
certainly
that in
have that added.
Okay.
So I think in saying that, I think you're correct in saying that it is covered in here, and it does address it. So I think because it doesn't give it a specific amount, I think we're safe there.
Looks like we're in good shape.
Okay. So I will send you final copy for your final review. But once all these changes are made, I mean, they're already made in here, except I just saw one typo. Do we have the approval to move forward to have it recorded with the county? And then after we get people, start working on our HOA.
So you're sending the final review for us, or are you basically?
I'm gonna let you get a final copy.
Okay.
You're gonna get a final copy everything, like I said, I just saw a typo in here, but everything else is already changed in there.
Do we need to have additional discussion before we entertain a motion? Are you comfortable with the changes that have been made?
I've read it. I'm comfortable with it. Mine, I was about ready to mention but she already caught the typo, if you were to say. So,
Yeah.
other than that, no. I have
No, I don't think so. Not need to review again.
Okay.
Need to have
No
another
questions on it.
discussion. No.
What's the desire of the board?
Adam, I'll go ahead and make the motion to go ahead and approve H4 as read.
Motion for approval by Joey,
And I will second that, Mr. Chairman.
second by Jay. Is there any additional discussion on the item?
None for me.
Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Diane.
Thank you.
Looks like we don't have any reports today.
Well, I'd just like to give a brief update.
Okay.
The second part of our strategic planning process is coming up in October 18th. That is where we will take the direction from the initial strategic planning meeting in June, and staff has spent the summer exploring a lot of the items that were highlighted during that meeting, and we've done some homework and some initial legwork on a lot of these. So as to not blindside you at that meeting with a bunch of options, you will be getting your packets earlier than normal for that meeting, and I will be reaching out to each of you to answer any questions that you might have so that everybody comes to that meeting fully briefed and have a clear understanding of a lot of the things that we've explored and a lot of the options we want to put before you.
Excellent. Yes.
I would just like to also mention, if you haven't seen it, the building on Second Street is almost complete. They may be done, they started on Monday, they may actually be done by Friday. If not, then I would say probably latest Wednesday of next week. If you haven't seen it, it's actually pretty amazing. Little things in life.
Yeah.
Inspire everybody.
Diane might have a video she can show you also.
Maybe I might have a few.
Items for future agendas.
Update on the sign, the digital sign. At least close that thing so we know
Status. Sure.
status on it.
Anything else? Okay. All right, next thing up is executive session. Pursuant to subsection 551.087 of the Texas Government Code, the Economic Development Corporation Board will meet in executive session for an update regarding the offer of a financial or other incentive to a business prospect referenced as Project Freeze. The time is now 12:28, and we'll adjourn into executive session. All right, the time is 12:40, and I'll reconvene the meeting of the Economic Development Corporation. We are still on item K. What's the desire of the board?
Adam, I would like to take the motion just to authorize the Economic Development Corporation to discuss and get with a deal to review it.
Negotiate a deal with
Yeah,
Up to the 13,000.
up to the 13,600. Yeah.
Or should they, the company, the project name?
Waffle cone, for the company of the waffle cone, the project for the freezer for the waffle cone.
All right, we have a motion for approval of the staff to negotiate up to 13.6 for a deal with Project Freeze.
I'll second that.
Second by Joey. Is there any additional discussion?
None for me.
Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.